I'm sorry I cried. I was not, I swear to God, like, I don't never cry. I'm not a crier. So, like, for me to have cried on camera, like, I don't even know if I'm gonna post that part. I might chop that out because I'm an ugly crier and I know my face was probably really ugly.
It's easy.
So, hey y'all, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Um, so this video here, is like a little story time, my first story time. And this is actually a really, really personal story. So if you find yourself to be like a hater or a judgmental person, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and exit stage left. Because this ain't the story for you. Like, this is a story about redemption and, you know, how people can change and evolving and new light and new energy. So if you've I guess never been through anything like that and you can't relate, or you know, find yourself hating, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and get the fuck on, quite frankly, because this video is very explicit. It's very real. I'm going to be telling the truth, and sometimes the truth ain't pretty. All right. So I would appreciate no judgment, no harsh comments, and no hate, because I'm a very spiritual person and I can pick up on it even through the camera, as crazy as that may sound. So go ahead and get your ass on. So here we go. Whew, where should I don't even know where to start. Okay. So we'll start after high school. So after high school, well, I guess in high school I was a cheerleader. So I loved cheerleading. At this point in my life, I was 17. Yeah, I was a 17-year-old senior. Um, and you know, cheerleading was my life. Like, I loved cheerleading. That's all I knew. So when I graduated, I knew that I wanted to go to school and I wanted to join the cheerleading squad, which is what I did. So I went to a community college that had a football team, and I joined the cheerleading squad, and I just was living my best life. Like, I had a car that my parents were paying for. You know, I had a job. At this time, I was working at, I think, Bloomingdale's. Was that senior year? Or was I was either working still at Carl's Jr., which is Hardee's on the East Coast, or Bloomingdale's. I don't remember yet, but I had a job. So I had like my free little money. I was taking like 2 or 3 classes. So I would go to school. Then I would go to cheerleading practice. Then after practice, you know, just hang out with my friends, or go to work, or go to the mall, or whatever. And I was just really independent and happy, fun girl. I grew up, you know, in a really good home. So like, life was straight. Like, I was straight. So I remember one of the girls on my cheerleading squad, for the sake of her privacy, I'll just call her like, I'll just call her like, I don't know. Dang, I really can't think of a name. Tiffany. So, yeah, so Tiffany would come to practice, and she always had like really nice bags, you know, like really nice clothes. Like, she always kind of like had her shit together. And for us to still be, you know, so young, I remember I was kind of like, dang, either she got some rich ass parents or like she got a good ass job, you know? So I remember I asked her one day, I was like, Tiffany, like, girl, like, how you be so fly? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to get like you. Like, you a fly little chick. And she was like, actually, she was actually older than us. I remember, because at that time I was probably like 18, and she was like, I think like 22. And she was really fun and bubbly. Like, just like, she almost kind of act like a valley girl. Like, she talked like kind of white or whatever that means, but y'all know what I mean. And she was just like really like bubbly. So I remember I asked her, like I said, what, like, girl, what you know, like, put me on. Where do you work? Are they hiring? And she was like, girl, I'm a stripper. And I was like, excuse me? Now, mind you, at this time, I was still young. I had never been to a strip club. I had never really seen any strippers outside of like TV. So in my mind, like to be a stripper, you had to be like a tall, blonde lady with like fake boobs. You know what I'm saying? Like in my mind, that's what a stripper was. So to see her, she was like, a young black girl, and she was like thick, like a thick black girl. So I was kind of like, "You're a stripper?" And she was like, "Yes." She was like, and honestly, like when she first told me that, I was like repulsed. I was like, "Bitch, ew." Like, you're nasty, you little slut. Like that's what I was thinking, firsthand. But she was like, I was like, not that same day I didn't interrogate her. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. But I was so intrigued. So like, the next few weeks at practice, I would ask her like, so you're really a stripper? And she'd be like, yes, girl. And I would ask her like what it's like and stuff like that. And I remember she told me, I'll never forget this. She was like, girl, I literally sit in the back, drink, wait for my name to be called, go on stage, twirl around a little bit, collect money, and do it all over again. And I was like, really? That's it? Like that's all you do? And she was like, yes, it's the easiest thing ever. So it just kind of sat with me in my mind. I was just kind of like, wow, just kind of shook my head and giggled a little bit like, girl, you crazy kind of thing. But like it sat with me. And, I would be at work at, some time went by. So I was working at Bloomingdale's. I was making good money. Like I would make commission. I worked in like the men's department selling like suits and ties to like rich older men. So they would come in there and, they would buy from me or whatever. And I would get a commission off of, whatever I sold. So that was cool. But I was just like, dang, I used to actually see like girls come in Bloomingdale's and like buy all this shit. And I used to be like, how can they afford this? Like, I'm trying to get like that. Like, I'm trying to get that kind of paper. So I started thinking about Tiffany, and her story and what she was telling me. So at practice one day, at cheerleading practice, I asked her, I was like, what do you got to do? I just started getting like more and more intrigued. I was like, so, do the guys touch you? Do you have to get naked? Like, these are the things that I was asking her. And she was like, no, you don't have to get naked. You do have to take your top off. She was telling me little things of how it worked and how the club worked. So I was like, I kind of want to try it. And she was like, come on, I'll take you. So about a week later, she invited me to the club that she worked at. And I went in, and at the door, they automatically asked me for my ID, of course, and I popped it out. And they were like, you can't come in here. You're only 18. And she was like, oh shit, I forgot you're 18, girl. So that was it. And I took that as a sign like, okay, I got my car, I went home. I was like, okay, thank you, Lord. It was just a weird vibe there. And, I was seeing like weird, creepy customers coming in. I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm straight anyway. I don't need to be doing this. That's a sign from God. Let me take my ass back to work at Bloomingdale's. So that's what I did. And that was it. That was it for that. So about, I say a few months later, let's see, I met a friend, a male friend, and we were hanging out, my little boo or whatever. He was more of a friend than a boo. But his roommate, he had a white girl who he lived with, and she worked at Outback Steakhouse at this time. Wow, this is crazy that I even remember this. My memory is so fucking bad. The fact that I even remember these details is wild to me. It's just bringing back so many memories. Anyway, he had a white girl that he used to roommate with, and we all used to hang out or whatever. And saying she worked at Outback Steakhouse, and same thing with her. Like, she would buy all these bags and like shoes and like, and I would be like, how can you afford that working at Outback? And she was like, girl, I be stripping. Now this girl, she wasn't my idea of what I thought a stripper was, like this tall blonde bombshell with big old boobies. Like, that wasn't her. Like, so I was like, you're a dancer? And she was like, yeah, I work in Vegas. She was like, I live in San Diego, so Las Vegas is not that far. So she was like, I work at Outback, during the week, and on the weekends I drive to Vegas, girl, and I make money out there and I come back. And I was like, what you say? You don't say. So I was like, I want to try it. Like I was so intrigued, and like I already had the little. It had kind of been on my mind for almost a year at this point. So I was like, I kind of want to try it, and she was like, yeah, I mean, you can come with me. It's nothing really. She kind of said the same thing as the other girl. She was like, I sit in the back and drink. When it's my turn, I go up. I twirl around a little bit, and that's pretty much it. So I was like, I'm gonna go with you. She was like, all right, cool. So we drove to Las Vegas, got us a hotel room, and it was time to it was like getting nighttime. So we got dressed. I got dressed up. She was like, the manager's gonna want to meet you and he's gonna want you to audition. So she like showed me what to wear, kind of showed me how to dance a little bit in the room. And I was already like a cheerleader, used to being in front of people, like in small clothes, I guess you could say. And then I was always like really like I've never been shy around people, and at that time I was not insecure about my body at all. So I was like, shit, all right, shit. In my mind, I'm thinking like dance, like twerk, like booty pop. That's nothing. But the club that she worked at was like a mixed club, and at this time back in the day, like clubs weren't like how they are now, where they play like trap music and everybody be, pussy popping and all that. In Vegas, like it was still kind of catered towards white customers. So they would play like weird music and they would want you to like kind of twirl around the pole, which was kind of weird to me, but she told me how to do it. We practiced in the room, hee hee ha ha. And so we went to her club. I met her manager, or the manager, and he was like, yeah, he was gonna hire me right there on the spot. No audition, no nothing. So I went to my bad, y'all. My battery had died, so I had to switch it out. So where was I? So yeah, I went to her club, met her manager. He was gonna hire me on the spot, but I went to go fill out the paperwork, and he was like, you're only 18. And I was like, she was like, oh my God, I didn't know you were only 18. She was like, and he was like, yeah, this club is 21 and up because we have alcohol. He was like, but my brother manages the club down the street that you can work at, 18 and up. So I was like, okay, cool. And I look at her like, okay, so you gonna slide with me? And she was like, girl, I work here. This is my club. Like go ahead. You can take the car keys and you can go down there. And I'm like, you raggedy bitch. Like you gonna, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know where I am. I don't know my way around. Like, I don't like, what the fuck? So she ends up staying there and I had to like tap into my Virgo energy, my independent energy. And I was like, okay, Rady, you could do this. Like, you're not gonna die. Like, you could do it. You could do it. I had to like prep myself up as I'm driving to the other club. So I get there and it was like so different from her club. It was like a little raggedy club. It was just not, I was just like, oh my God, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this is some raggedy ass shit. It was small. It just wasn't it. So I go in and the manager was already expecting me, and he was just like a pervy person, just like a little pervert, and he was like, yeah, you can work, go ahead and get dressed and, get on the floor. So I'm in the back, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever danced before. You already know, like when you new in a club, like the bitches, they just be, it's funny now thinking back, because I was like, at that time I was like feisty, so like I was ready for whatever. Like, bitch, if we gonna do it, let's bang them. But now thinking back, that's just like ridiculous. But anyway, so like all the girls were looking at me crazy, and I'm like, I'm already nervous. I don't really know what's going on. It was weird. The manager was pervy. It was just a really bad vibe. So I get dressed, and I didn't even have the proper gear. Like I had on like, I didn't even have like, like the real stripper platform heels. I had on like some bullshit ass shoes that I had got from like Charlotte Russe or some shit. I had on like some Hello Kitty boy shorts. I don't know. I was 18. Like in my mind, that's what was sexy. I was a little fucking girl. I had on some Hello Kitty boy shorts and like this pink halter top. Just looking fucking dumb. Just dumb. Just young and dumb. Oh my God. I be thinking back on that shit. Like, what the fuck was I thinking? Just looking young and dumb and stupid. But like, I guess it worked because I guess the little perverts could tell that I was like young. with the Hello Kitty, and like I probably looked young, so like they liked that shit. So before, like right when I got out there was this guy, and he was like, I want a private dance. And I was kind of like, bruh, I've only been a stripper for literally like 40 seconds. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And the manager was like, when customers want private dances, you have to give them private dances. So I was like, all right, nigga, come on. Where's the private dance area? Like, what do I do? How much is it? How does it work? And he was like, you go back there, you give them a dance, you charge them what you want, and you have to pay a house fee or whatever. So he was like, that'll be part of your house fee. And I was like, or your house fee will come out of that. And I was like, okay. I don't know if I want to get too detailed, because this shit is like literally, this is starting to make my stomach hurt. Like, I thought I would be able to do this, but like thinking back on this shit, like literally this shit is about to make I'm about to throw up, like real shit. All right. We're gonna skip over some parts. Anyway, it was this fat fucking white guy, and he was like groping me and like, this shit is fucking repulsive. He was like groping me and like moaning or whatever. Oh, y'all, it was so fucking nasty. I kept thinking to myself like, Rady, oh my fucking God, like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? It was so nasty. I was supposed to dance with him for like 3 songs or whatever. So I was just like this the whole time, like, just get it over with, just get it over with. We weren't allowed to get naked, but he kept like trying to make me get naked, like, take this off. And I was like, oh my God, this is like the nastiest thing I've ever been a part of. I cannot fucking do this. So that was that. The rest of the night, I still stayed, and I danced on stage, which it wasn't that bad. Like on stage, like, just throw me money. I don't want to do no private dances. Like, no, that shit was so nasty, so gross. But the stage wasn't so bad. I could get on stage and, dance, and you had to take your top off. And I was like, I'm cool with that. Like, that was fine with me. So I did that or whatever for the rest of the night. And I left like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. So I met back up with the girl, whatever, and that was like my first day doing that. But I didn't really like it, and that was it. So we came back to San Diego, and that was it. I still was working at Bloomingdale's. It was just like a one-time thing at this point. So then, fast forward about 6 months later, I'm working at Bloomingdale's. It was like the season had slowed down. It was after Christmas. The checks were getting smaller, and I was like, that little stripper money sure would have been nice. My first night, I probably made like $500, which was a lot to me. That was a whole lot, like a lot. So I kept thinking about that, and I was like, I kind of want to try it out again. So I went to a club, here in San Diego, and I went during the daytime, and I auditioned and got hired. Now this club, it was so different from that other club. Like, it had a different vibe. Like, one, it wasn't like a creepy pervert club. It was more like a party atmosphere. Like, the customers were younger. They were more towards my age. The club was 18 and up, but the customers were younger. Some of them were actually handsome. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, this is not nearly as bad. Like, it just wasn't, the vibe was just way different. So anyway, my little young hot ass started working there, but I would only work on the daytime because at night I would be too intimidated. Like, the girls were really, really pretty. They were older. They had been there for, years, some of them. And I was still really intimidated by them. So I would go at like 2 o'clock in the evening or in the afternoon. I would work, and then like around 10, I would leave, which is, now that I've done it for so long, that's like the dumbest thing ever. But yeah, so I was just like too scared. So I did this for probably about like 8 or 9 months. I would just work in the little daytime. It would only be like 3 or 4 customers in there, like literally nobody. I'll give a few little dances, and their lap dances had so many rules. Like, literally, I loved that club. I think that's why I ended up doing it for so long, because I felt so safe there. Like, you would go to give a dance, and the bodyguard would literally like stand right there, and he would try to make himself not be seen, but they used to look out for us. Like, no weird shit. Like, I felt really, 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 really safe. So yeah, so I did that for about probably like 8 or 9 months. And then I started to get more comfortable at the club. I started to, meet some of the girls, the DJs, and you just like, it sounds weird, but like the strip club kind of becomes like your home. Like these are your people. Like the manager, you start to become cool with the manager and the bartenders and some of the other girls, and it's like you get really, really comfortable. So the managers were like, "How come you never work nights?" And I was like, "Oh hell no, nope. Too many people. I'm too scared. I don't really know what I'm doing. It's just too much." So I started working nights about a year after my little introductory to the stripper world. And my first night that I worked, I made my first $1,000. I made $1,000 in one night, and I was just like, holy shit. Like, this is crazy. Like, oh my God. Like, I had never made that much money. Well, yeah, because my Bloomingdale's checks used to be like 1,000, but it not in one night. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. So this is like the beginning of the end. Well, the beginning of almost the end. So I started working nights, and let me tell you something. Daytime strip club and nighttime strip club is like bananas in a fucking screwdriver. Like nothing the same. Not bananas and apples, a banana and a screwdriver. Like it's just, it blew my mind. The craziness, the customers, the drugs, the girls, the fights, it was just insane, the shit that I saw. But I started getting more and more used to it. But see, the thing is, and here's where shit gets real. The thing is, like, when you dance, this is a thing a lot of dancers won't tell you. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, and I guess it kind of depends on what kind of girl you are. But for me, I noticed I started to lose my self-esteem. Like, I kind of started to feel like, what am I doing here? Like, Rady, you're so smart. You were raised so well. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? And you would see girls like leave, or some of them were in college, and you would see them graduate college and, go on with their lives. And I started to feel kind of like low. I started to feel low about myself. And it just wasn't, it wasn't right. And this happened probably about 2 years in. Now, mind you, I danced for stripped, whatever word you want to use, for a total of about 5.5 years. So 2 years in is when it started to get weird. It started to get kind of dark. So to keep myself there and to even want to be there, I started using drugs. I was doing ecstasy. At that time, we used to call it Thiz. I'm in California. It was like a Thiz movement or whatever. But I used to pop pills, and just so that I could even feel like being there. It was tragic, y'all. It was tragic because it got to a point where I couldn't even be at work without popping a pill. And then like I would pop one and it wouldn't work. So then I'll pop another one, like just so I could be there. And like at some points I had got up to like where I was taking like 5 pills just so I could feel a high and like actually want to be there. And I would make money. And I started to get addicted to that whole lifestyle. It wasn't really that I was addicted to the drugs, but it was just I was addicted to the fast money, the attention, the lights, the schedule and everything. Like I was still at this point, I would only work on the weekends, Friday and Saturday nights. And I was still working at Bloomingdale's. No, I was working at I think I had switched to Nordstrom at this time. So me and a bunch of my stripper friends, we all had a little apartment, and we lived there, and we would like split the rent or whatever. Actually, I got the apartment first, and then I had let one of the girls come stay with me, and then somehow it was like all the bitches were staying with me. It was weird. So then we moved to like a bigger apartment. I don't know. It was crazy. But it was just like we were all young and dumb and on drugs and just stripping. It was really, 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 really dark. Like it was just, Now that I think back, it almost makes me want to cry. Like, we were just so lost. I thank God that we're all doing good now. This is years ago, mind you guys. But it was bad. It was bad. So that was our life. Like, yeah, I think I was the only one who had like a job outside of dancing, but they would go like every night and I would only go on the weekends. But it was crazy because it was like I had to code switch. Like, it was weird. It was just weird. Like, I would like be around all these professional people like at work, and then I would be around, drugs and stripping, on the weekends. But I remember at my job at Nordstrom's, there was a girl I used to work with, and wherever you're at, hey baby, I just want to send you some love because I really feel like she was an angel in my life. There was a white girl I used to work with, and she used to see me coming to work like all like, what's the word, when you're like coming down, I guess, coming down all groggy, eyes all puffy. And she knew what I did because we were like work buddies, and I confided in her. Really, really nice blonde girl. She was a little bit older than me. She had 3 kids, and she had told me, she was like, I know you dance. She was like, I used to dance. She was like, so I'm not judging you. She was like, if you need to take a nap in the back, I'll cover the floor for you, and you can go like basically sleep it off. And she kind of told me her story, and she was like, I was a young girl. I used to dance. She was like, I used to be really, really bad on cocaine. She was like, I met a guy in the club. I had 3 kids by him. He was a drug dealer. She was like, he ended up leaving me. And now, I quit the club. I got myself clean, and I work here now. She was like, I'm not telling you what to do. She was like, but you're a really, really young, really, really smart girl. So I just want you to know that there's other, options out there. And she kind of told me that, and I kind of looked at her like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, you used to dance too, ho. Because this is the attitude and the darkness that I had. I was just like, I couldn't even recognize an angel like that, who was trying to help me. I was kind of like, bitch, fuck you. Like, for real. Like, I just thought I was just this bad young bitch who was getting money and just nobody could stop me. And like, I'm just super fly, like invincible. Like, bitch, I'm bad and I be getting money, and fuck you, and you're a hater, you old ass bitch. Like, that's really how I used to think, which is crazy. Like, it's just crazy. So anywho, I actually quit that job because I remember like they would always ask me to come in like on the weekends, and I used to be like, no, like, mm-mm. And I was so comfortable with it. I actually told my manager like what I did. Like, I wasn't even like discreet about it. Like, I'm a stripper. I be stripping on the weekends. Like, I can't come in. Like, so unprofessional. So anyways, I got deeper and deeper into that lifestyle. I was just like, around this time, like, I didn't even talk to my family. I was so embarrassed about like, it was like my ego and then like the real me. So like my ego was like, I'm a bad bitch. I be stripping. I be making money. Ha ha ha. But then like the real me was embarrassed. Like, I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I felt low. I was depressed. So it was kind of like, the ego, the devil and the angel. You know what I'm saying? Your ego and then like your real you. So yeah, so that happened. And then I remember maybe I'll do another video where I'll get into some story time of like the things that happened there, but I don't want this video to be super, super long. But I remember, so the club that I worked at was like, it was like most of our customers were like military guys, like Marines or Navy guys. And I remember like the 1st and the 15th, which is the military paydays, was like when all the girls would come to work because they knew that, the guys had just gotten paid. So I remember, this is like, I'm fucking, at this time I was maybe about 20, 22. I'm sitting in the back. It was like early in the night, like a Friday, and we were literally like sitting there like waiting for the guys to come in, like fucking tweakers. And I remember I literally had a moment. Like, I was high, I was off the drugs and drinking, had my little slut outfit on. And I remember thinking to myself, and I was like, it was like an epiphany. Like, it was like an aha moment. And I was sitting there and I literally said to myself, like, why in the fuck am I sitting here in this club, high off drugs, alone, depressed, sad, not talking to my family, waiting for military dudes to come give me money, when I can just join the military myself? It really was that, it really was just that simple. And I was like, you're fit, you ain't got no kids, you hate your life. Like, why not change your life? Why not get your shit together? So that's what I did. So the very next day, I went to talk to a recruiter. Well, actually, I had some friends who were already in the Navy, male friends. So I kind of was asking them, like, what is it like? You know, what are the requirements and things like that. And then about a week later, I went to speak to a recruiter. At this time, I had been dancing for about 4 years, 4.5 years. So I went to talk to a recruiter, and you know, he asked me all the information. He was like, you know, took my weight, age, do you have kids, things like that. He was like, do you do drugs? And I'm thinking to myself, like, motherfucker, I'm high right now. But of course I was like, no, you know what I mean? So yeah, so that, and then he asked me if I had any felonies or if I had ever been arrested. And I told him no. So that was that. And he was like, you know, I'm going to process your paperwork and I'll let you know, what happens next. So I was so excited. And I remember there was actually, I skipped this part, but there was a girl, she was a dancer as well at the club, and she was, you know, wild and crazy like the rest of us. And I remember she was saying that she was going to the Marine Corps. And I was like, okay, that must be a sign. Like, I didn't tell anybody I was going to the Navy because I'm one of those people who, like, when I'm about to do something or when I'm about to, when I want something to happen, I keep it to myself because I don't want nobody's energy to fuck up what I got going on. So I never told anybody I was going to the Navy. But I remember she was talking about how she was going to the Marine Corps, and all the girls would be like, oh my gosh, really? Da, 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 da. And I used to think to myself, like, okay, perfect. Like, I'm going to the Navy. Like, that must be a sign. Like, okay, cool. So I just kind of kept it in my head or whatever. Was still dancing. So about a month later, the recruiter called me. He's like, I need you to come in right now. He's like, I need you to come in right now. And I was like, all right, here I come. So I came in, and he asked me, he was like, why did you lie to me? And I was like, excuse me? And he was like, why did you lie about your arrest record? And I was like, I didn't lie. I've never been arrested. I've never been to jail. I've never had any run-ins with the police ever. He's like, well, what is this? And he literally pulled out this thick ass stack of, like, you know how, like, when you, like, that court paperwork, it's like that thin paper because it's like so many stacks of it. So he pulled out, like, the yellow receipt, like the back one. And it was maybe like, it was thick. It was thick. And he was like, this is your arrest record. And I was like, what? So I grabbed it and I'm looking through it, and it's clearly my name right there. And clearly my information right there, my address and my mom's house, all that shit. And there was probably about 60 different arrests for solicitation of prostitution. Okay? So I'm like, what in the entire fuck is this? I've never been arrested. I've never been a prostitute. I'm thinking, like, I might have popped a nipple out here and there in a lap dance, but I ain't selling no pussy. Like, what the fuck is this? And so I was like, sir, this is not me. Like, I didn't do this. He was like, are you telling me the truth? And I was like, yes. I was like, and I was looking at the arrest. Some of were in Vegas, some were in Arizona, some were in Utah, some were in the furthest was like Utah, I believe. So I'm looking and I'm like, I've never even been to these places. Like, what the fuck? And he's like, okay, well, if you can, you swear to me that this is not you, we can help you, find out what's going on here. And I was like, yeah, please do. So together, another angel, my recruiter, thank God for him. We got to the bottom of it. Like, he's like, okay, boom, I found out, he was calling the different courthouses and blah, 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 and seeing what I had to do. And, me and him drove to these different places. We went on, like, road trips, and I would have to go to the court of wherever the girl got arrested at. And I would have to, basically, they would take the her mugshot and put it like up to my face, and the judge would like analyze it, and he would be like, oh shit, like this isn't you. And then, you know, when you get arrested, they fingerprint you. So every courthouse would take my fingerprint, then they had to get it analyzed by a forensic specialist, and they would look and see like, oh shit, like, yeah, this is not you. So we had to do that at every single court or every single city that this girl got arrested in. It was probably like 10 different cities. It was crazy. It was crazy. I almost gave up. I was almost like, you know what, the Navy ain't for me. Like, fuck, I'm not gonna do this. Is just too much. It's too fucking much. Like, God just wants me to be a little stripper hoe for the rest of my life. But I was like, you know what? Nope. Anything worth having, you gotta work for. Like, God is testing me. He wants to see how bad I want to leave this lifestyle. He wants to see how bad I want to change my life. You know what I'm saying? He was testing my tenacity. In spirit, God, whoever you believe in, they'll do that to you. Before they bless you, they'll test your tenacity to see if you really deserve these blessings. So you know, at the time I wasn't as tapped in as I am now spiritually. So I was just like thinking the opposite. Like, God, you know, he's not working with me, and you know, this life is so hard, and I was so depressed. And at that time, you know, I didn't tell my recruiter that I was a dancer because I was just embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? So was I still dancing? So at this time, I was like over the club. Like, I was so over it. I was just, I mean, like, I was trying to go and not do drugs because I knew I was getting ready to go to the Navy. So I would like go and I would try to work sober. And if you ever tried to do that, if you any of you guys are dancers, like, that shit is the worst. Like, we want to talk about feeling bad about yourself. Doing that shit sober will have you like, oh my God, I just can't do this. And that's kind of where I was. So I was broke because I didn't go to work as much. And, you know, I was trying not to do drugs, and I was trying to like really change my life. So I would go to the club, and I remember one time, because I wasn't high, I had fell asleep in the back room, and like they used to have this thing called like the blue light special or some shit, where like they would do like, I don't know, you had to like, all the girls had to go out on the floor and get a dance for a customer or some shit. And I didn't do it because I was tired. I'm not on drugs no more. Like, my performance wasn't the same. Like, I didn't want to be there. Like, you know, all the girls who were on drugs were getting on my nerves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, fighting and yelling and just being crazy and loud. And I was like, I could feel my spirit had already left that lifestyle before I did. You know what I'm saying? So I was just there for the money. Anyway, long story short, we were supposed to all go out on the floor or something, and I didn't. And the manager came in the room, and he was like, pack your shit and get out. Mind you, yes, this is how they fucking talk to you. I had been working there for 5 years, gave them my, you know, 5.5 years. And he was like, pack your shit and get out. Straight up, just like that. That's what he told me. I was like, what? And he was like, pack your shit and get out. I'm sick of your shit. Oh, so now that I'm not high and bouncing around like a fucking geek monster, I'm just chopped liver now? Fuck you. So that right there was my last day ever in the strip club. I don't want to tell dates because I don't want y'all to know how old I am. But yeah, that was a long, long time ago. So I packed my shit and I got up out of there. And I never looked back. I never looked back. Cause I'm thinking to myself, man, fuck this club. I'm gonna join the Navy anyway. I'm gonna change my life. I'm gonna be making money. I'm gonna be traveling the world. I'm gonna be, you know what I'm saying? Feeling good about myself. Maybe I can reconnect with my family and show them, you know, have them be proud of me. Like, fuck y'all. So I walked out of there with a smile. Like, I remember I had my little stripper bag, and I was, you know, a little bit hurt about the way he had talked to me, but I walked out of there with a smile, like kind of like one of them, you know what I'm saying? Like walking out with a fuck you to that club. And it was kind of like the moments like in the movies where like they play the music and then like there's the slow motion scene. Like it was like that. Like it was a moment. It was definitely a moment. So we were still waiting for the paperwork to come back from all the different cities where the girl was using my name. So, and that took a long time. It took about a year. So during that year, we had got evicted from the little stripper apartment. One of the strippers that I was living with, it was a bunch of us. One of them had just like disappeared off into the moonlight. Two of the other ones had like got their own place. It was just a shit show. Okay, so we ended up getting evicted. I ended up tucking my tail and moving back in with my parents. So embarrassed, just of the lifestyle and the way I would treat them, as I was in that lifestyle. But I had to humble myself. I got very humbled and, asked, to move back in. So I was living there, and in the meantime, in between time, I needed money just for like, toothpaste and, little shit like that. So I got a job at Walmart making fucking pennies, and it was very, very, very humbling, very humbling. But it felt good. It's crazy because I wasn't making nearly as much money, but I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't around girls that were doing drugs. I wasn't up in the middle of the night. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, getting groped on by weirdos. Like, I was so proud of my Walmart job. Like, I would get up in the daytime like a normal person, and I was so happy to be around normal people. I was really, really, I loved that job. I only worked there, I remember I worked there for probably about 3 months, and my recruiter called me and he's like, Rady, he was like, there's like a little program that you're supposed to do before you go into the Navy. And it's like, I forget what it's called. I think it's called the DET program. And it's basically like preparing you for the Navy. Like they get you right, physically, and make sure you can swim. They teach you like all the different language that you use in the Navy and all that shit. But my recruiter called me. He was like, hey, he's like, your paperwork came back and there's a spot for you to go to boot camp, but you got to leave in 3 days. And I was like, well, I didn't even do the little program. He was like, fuck it. He was like, I'm going to check it off and say that you did. He was like, can you swim? I was like, yeah. He was like, can you run over 2 miles? I was like, yeah. He was like, all right, just tell him that you did the DET program or whatever. I forget the name of the program, but he was like, I'm gonna check it off like you did. He was like, and I remember like, hold on. Woo, I got emotional. Oh my God. I remember like me and him, like, we were like screaming on the phone. Like, he was like, we did it. Like, yes. He was like, yes, finally, finally, finally. And he was just happy that, that the paperwork had came back, but he didn't know what that meant to me. Like that changed everything. Like that changed everything. Like everything changed. And like I said, like, I remember I had friends at that time who were in the Navy, and they were, I called them like, I'm about to go to boot camp. Like, oh my God, like, oh my fucking God, like, it's really happening. Like, it's really happening. My life is about to change. I'm about to move about this city. I'm about to change my life. Oh my God, like, y'all. Woo! I was like, thank you, God. So like, they were telling me like, okay, look, don't tell nobody you were a stripper. They were like, you're a pretty girl. You're going to be around a lot of men. You don't want that to, fuck with your career. Don't ever tell anybody. Don't tell your friends that you make. Like, keep that shit a secret. They were like, don't be no hoe. Don't go in the military fucking on niggas. Like be professional. Like, and I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, 3 days later, baby. My recruiter came and got me at like 5 o'clock in the morning, took me to the airport. I flew to Chicago. That's where boot camp is. And yeah, my whole life changed. Like, my whole life changed. Like, I'm just so happy. Like, I can't believe I'm crying. I'm just so happy for that, just like, the people that I met who like were there for me and like really like, like helped me get out of that. Like, my whole life changed. Like, I joined the Navy, and my very first week in the Navy, I went on deployment. And no. I went to boot camp. I think that was like 2 months. Then you go to A school, where you learn your trade. I was a logistics specialist. So I was sitting in front of the computer. I would come to work cute. Like, I didn't have one of them like raggedy jobs. Like, I had a cute job. Like, I was at the computer. Like, I would come to work cute with my little uniform on, and I had my little nails. And I would be on the computer, and I just felt so proud. Like, and people would like tell me like, wow, you're really good at this, or your job performance is awesome. And I would just be thinking like, if only y'all know where I was 6 months ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, I had so much confidence. My parents were proud of me, and I got my relationship back with my family. My dad did 24 years in the Marine Corps, so like he was really, really proud of me for kind of like doing what he did. And that's pretty much what happened. Since then, I did 4 years in the Navy. And then I got out. I went to school. I got my degree. And I am now a social worker. So I work with people who are, poor or impoverished, or people getting out of jail. I work with strippers. I work with prostitutes. So like, I understand them, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, that's what I do now. So your girl bossed that, okay? Like, changed my whole life around. Thank you to the Navy. I went to college for free. So yeah, that's my little story. I didn't want to make it too long. I'm sorry I cried. I swear to God, like, I don't never cry. I'm not a crier. So like, for me to have cried on camera, like, I don't even know if I'm gonna post that part. I might chop that out, because I'm an ugly crier, and I know my face was probably really ugly. But like, it just, just telling the story just brings back all those emotions and all those feelings. Like, I'm so happy I changed my life. God, thank you, Lord, God, Jesus. Whew. So again, this is a story for anybody who might be feeling down or depressed about where they're at right now in life. Like, baby, like, it's just a moment. It's just a moment. It's never too late to change your life around. I hope you guys enjoyed my story. Sorry if I was a little chit-chatty. But yeah, if you like the content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm always going to try to be as real as I can with you guys. I kind of wanted to just share my story so you guys can get to know me a little bit more. My channel is still brand new, but I want to do story times like this so that you guys can kind of get an idea of who I am. Follow me on IG at Rady_V. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
It's easy.